The Dallas Mavericks are slowly turning into a true finals contender. After a hot start to the season, they slowed down, but ever since the NBA trade deadline, they've been on fire. After acquiring PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, Luka and Kyrie finally have some help. Luka's MVP case is only getting stronger as the season goes on. If you guys haven't been paying attention to the Mavs, they're on a 7-game winning streak, and since they got PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, they haven't lost a singular game, and some of these wins are against good teams. I know Philly is not the same team that they were earlier in the year, but at Philly, so in Philly, obviously, that's a big win. They won by 16. They also went into New York and beat the Knicks. That's a pretty big one. Then they beat the Thunder by 35. And then, of course, last night, the Mavericks beat the Suns by 10, which, by the way, that was a really good game. Obviously, we're going to talk about it in this video. If you guys didn't see the game, Luka went off, but that's not really surprising because when you average, like, what is he averaging? 34 and like 9 and 8, like that's insane. You kind of expect it. 41 points for Luka, 6 threes, 9 boards, 11 assists, almost had a 40-point triple-double, which, to be honest, like we're kind of getting used to that now. Like, that's probably not a good thing to get used to. Like, just that type of greatness. And again, I mean, not again, because I haven't said that in this video. I say it all the time, though. Luka's only 24 years old. This is not real. Like, this is unreal stuff we are seeing, and we're just getting numb to it. We're starting to get used to stuff like this. Luka, 40-point, basically triple-double with 4 steals. Kyrie sprinkling in 29 points. That's pretty much it from the Mavs. I mean, PJ Washington had like 12. Tim Hardaway, I think, also had 12. But that's pretty much it. It was pretty much just Luka and Kyrie. And then on the other side, D-Book had 35. I think KD had 20 something. It was a really good game. Probably a top 5 game for me that I've seen this year. I'm not going to put it like 1, 2, 3. I know there was like a really good Warriors Celtics game. There's a really good Warriors Lakers game. There's probably a few others I can't think of off the top of my head. And I'm, of course, a Warriors fan, so maybe I'm a little bit biased. But coming up, we have kind of a tough schedule. I mean, it was already kind of tough. You got the Sixers, Knicks, Thunder, and Suns, as we just talked about. But coming up, it gets tougher. They're going into Indy, then they go into Cleveland, into Toronto, should win that game. Then they go into Boston. So 3 of the top contenders out east, the 1 seed, the 2 seed, and then what are the Pacers, like 7? So some tough teams here. Then they got to play Philly again, Indy again. Then they got to play the Heat. And I mean, if we keep scrolling, you even got like the Warriors, the Thunder, and the Nuggets. So we are really going to know by, I would say, March 17th, because that's when they play the Nuggets. So 4 weeks from now, about how much of a contender this Mavericks team is, because I'm at the point where I'm just going to say it, like, I've seen enough. This team, ever since the trade deadline, after acquiring PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, they have a real shot to win it all. Before the trade deadline, I was not saying that. Luka was going crazy. Everyone obviously knows that. But I was not comfortable with the depth on this team. Now they bring in size. They bring in forwards that are actually, I don't know. I don't know. Grant Williams, great guy. But it just wasn't getting it done. You were not going to win a ring with that team. So the Mavs, honestly, might have won the trade deadline. And so now the Mavericks are on a 7-game winning streak, 33-23. They were kind of nearing 500. So if you take away the 7 wins, what would they be? 26-23. Again, right about 500. Now they're 10 games above 500, and they are clearly in the playoffs now. They're not even in a play-in spot. They just passed the Suns. So now the Suns and the Kings would have to play in the play-in, and I'm just going to be the one to say it. When you have the Lakers and the Warriors as the 9 and the 10 seed, and maybe come the end of the year, the Lakers or the Warriors or the 7 and 8 seed, right? They're probably going to be in the play-in. I doubt one of them breaks through to the top 6, although it is possible. I'm going to be the first one to say it, and I know this video is not about these teams, but I think possibly the Kings are going to lose in the play-in, or one of these teams, because I don't know. I just have a hard time believing that the Lakers or I should say the Lakers and the Warriors both don't make it. I feel like one of them's going to get out of the play-in, right? It's so tough. It's so loaded, but the Mavs in a really good spot now. Again, it's going to be really interesting to see what they can do with these upcoming games, because they have a pretty tough schedule coming up. And I mean, I could talk about how good Luka is all day if I really wanted to. Like, look, bro, look at this. Since Christmas Day, so 2 months ago, 2 full months now, it's been about 60 days since Christmas, and these are the numbers he's putting up. 40, 3.4 points per game with 12 rebounds per game and basically 10 assists per game. 56% from the field. And I don't know, you guys let me know in the comments, but I just don't know how people say SGA over Luka. Like when you take the two players, and I know because it's a big conversation for the MVP debate, obviously both of them are in the race. I think Luka's like fourth in odds, which to me makes no sense. I'm completely on the Luka Doncic MVP bandwagon, but unfortunately, I think team success is factored into this a lot, maybe even too much. I think you could say that team success is factored into the MVP a little bit too much. But then at the same time, why is Jason Tatum not being talked about more? The Celtics are clearly the best team in the NBA, at least for the regular season. I mean, I think they have like 6 more wins than the team below them in wins. They have like 44 and 12 or something crazy. So it's just weird. SGA second in MVP odds. I think number 1 right now is Jokic, but look at these numbers. Again, team success matters. The Mavs are now the 6th seed. If they can get into that top 4 and Luka, I mean, I don't think he's going to slow down. I mean, this might be a little unsustainable, so maybe slow down a little bit. But you know what I'm saying? I am fully on the Luka Doncic bandwagon for winning MVP. Let me know what y'all think about it. Does he deserve it? Are y'all going Jokic? Are you going SGA? Maybe you're going Tatum. Do you have a sleeper pick? Maybe you're going Giannis. He's also in the mix. Let me know in the comments who y'all want or who y'all think will win MVP. Taking a look at the Mavs updated depth chart after all the trades that went down. They, of course, got rid of Grant Williams and Seth Curry, and I guess Rashawn Holmes for Gafford. But this team's crazy. And like, I like the size of this team. Like at first, earlier in the year, I was saying they need forwards. They need to bring in some forwards. They obviously have PJ Washington and Gafford. I mean, he could play a little bit of 4 or 5, doesn't really matter. Personally, I like Gafford over Lively. So I don't know if they're going to make that change. I would assume so. Maybe they prefer to have Gafford coming off the bench though. I don't know, but Gafford is really underrated. If you guys have not seen him play, which a lot of y'all probably didn't because he was on the Wizards, he is one of the best rim protectors. He is really good at defense and he's solid offensively as well. PJ Washington though adds a lot to this team because he's really good offensively, and they were really lacking that because it was just Luka and Kyrie. And then, you know, they'd throw like an occasional lob to Derek Lively. You know what I mean? It was very like, I don't know if the word's like two-dimensional. You know what I'm saying? It was very predictable what they were going to do. There wasn't much to the offense. And also, I think they got better defensively. Again, Gafford is great defensively. I just like the depth chart. I believe in it now because you also have Tim Hardaway Jr. coming off the bench, which I think he's probably going to win 6th man of the year. He gives you buckets. They spread out Luka and Kyrie's minutes too. So one of them's always on the floor. And then you guys might be looking at Josh Green as their starting small forward. I think that's fine. He is a average two-way player. You don't need much from him. You just don't need him. You know what I'm saying? He just got to be solid. Just got to be okay at defense, which he is. And again, when you have Luka and Kyrie on the team, I mean, they're going to be having the ball in their hands most of the time. So you don't need another guy that, you know, like say forcing Tim Hardaway Jr. into the lineup. Yeah, maybe that sounds better, but you don't need that. You don't need that much scoring. You know what I'm saying? So having Tim come off the bench, spreading out Luka and Kyrie's minutes, I like this team a lot. And again, we're going to have to see what they do over the next 4 weeks because, I mean, they're starting to really look like they could win it all. When you look into the advanced stats, you look at the offensive rating, the Dallas Mavericks are in 10th. So that's solid. I mean, if you have an ounce of ball knowledge, you know that a team with Luka, a team with Kyrie is obviously going to be pretty good offensively. Now, defensively, they are not in the top 14. We got to scroll a little bit to 19th, where the Mavericks are. And I think this is only going to get better as the regular season goes on. Again, bringing in Daniel Gafford, I think is really going to make a true difference. So by the end of the year, I think the Mavericks could be up, you know, 14, 13, somewhere around there. And offensively, I think they're going to get better as well. So right now they are 10th. I mean, this is a little pack right here, bro. They're 0.2 away from the Warriors, who are in 7th. If you really look at it, like they could easily jump up to 7th or even 6th. I think end of the year, Mavs are like 7th in offensive rating, and then defensive rating, they're going to jump from like 19th to like probably around 14th, which is solid. Again, when you're talking about finals contending teams, you want to see teams that are top 10 in both. That's just a little, not a requirement, but it's something that a lot of teams that go on deep playoff runs have in common. Also, something I've noticed, the Celtics, now the #1 team in offensive rating. For a while it was the Pacers. I pretty much think for all year it was the Pacers. Celtics have now passed them, and they're #2 in defensive rating. So I say this all the time. Are we just overthinking it? You know, a team gets hot. We talked about the Clippers. Are the Clippers going to win it all? I've talked about the Nuggets early this year. We've talked about pretty much a lot of the top teams. Are we overthinking it? Are the Celtics just going to win it? #1 in offensive rating, #2 in defensive rating, net rating, they're #1, and it's not close. They're 44-12. I mean, the Celtics are so, I'm not going to say deep. Their starting five is unreal. They're not really deep. Their bench is like okay. It's nothing special, but what they're doing is crazy. And also, if we go to just total net rating, the Mavericks are 13th in the NBA. So how do the Dallas Mavericks stack up against the other teams in the Western Conference? How do I feel if the Mavericks were to go into a playoff series against these teams? Let's start from the bottom. And again, do we even have to really talk about this? Because I don't know how that would happen. Warriors versus Mavericks in a series. But Warriors versus Mavericks, I'm a Warriors fan, so gonna try to be as unbiased as possible. But I mean, I feel like I got the Mavericks against pretty much all of these play-in teams. Let's just keep it real. I just do. I mean, obviously, a lot of these teams are gonna put up a fight. It's not gonna be like a sweep by any stretch of the imagination. It's not gonna be that free for the Mavericks. After seeing the Mavs and Suns play last night, and Beal wasn't out there, so it wasn't fully fair, you know what I'm saying? But I like the Mavs against the Suns. I just do. After seeing that game and just I don't know, the gut feeling, you know what I'm saying? I'm going Mavs over Suns if that series was to somehow happen. I think I'd go Mavs over Kings. I think I'd also go Mavs over Lakers, and then Mavs versus Warriors. I don't know. Let's just not talk about it, because that's not going to happen. I don't know how that series would happen unless it happened in the play-in. But I just don't think you can count out the Warriors. And I guess you can't count out the Lakers as well with LeBron. You can't count out LeBron and Steph Curry in the playoffs. Let's just say that. Mavs and Pelicans, if that series was to happen, I like the Mavs in that. I don't know about y'all, but in the playoffs, something that matters a lot is that it factor, and just being clutch. If I'm just going to be honest, just being clutch matters a lot in the playoffs. And I fully believe that Luka has that it factor. That it factor that Kobe had. That it factor that I think Steph Curry has, LeBron has, you know what I'm saying? Some of y'all would disagree with me. You're gonna say these guys aren't clutch, but let's be real. Majority of the time they are. And I think Luka has that. And there's another guy that we're gonna talk about in a second that I think low-key doesn't have it, or I'm gonna have to see it. I'm still gonna have to see it. But Mavs Nuggets would be interesting. I don't love the Mavs against that. I'd probably pick the Nuggets, and then against the Clippers as well, I think I'd probably lean Clippers, but we'll see where we're at come the end of the season. Thunder, I mean, the Mavs, yeah, I'm going Mavs over Thunder. I don't know if that's bold, but if that series happens, I will go Mavs over Thunder. And then this is the team, the Timberwolves. When it comes down to it, I have not really seen that it factor from Ant. I'm not going to lie. I think they were playing, I think it was the Celtics early this year, end of the game, 3 free throws for Ant. He misses all 3. I'm pretty sure. Don't fully quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And just seeing him in the playoffs, I think it was last year. I think he started pretty slow. I don't know. I like what I see from Luka, and I believe in him fully. And I want him to be good. A lot of people want him to be good. A lot of people want him to be the new face of the NBA. You know, he gets these comparisons to MJ and stuff, but I gotta see it first. So I pretty much like the Mavs over like every team except the Nuggets and the Clippers as of right now. I think the Mavs can truly go on a deep playoff run, and I didn't really think that like 2 weeks ago. I thought they needed a lot of help, and it was just Luka. And I mean, I thought Luka's been playing great, and I was just thinking about his future and how many like MVP. I think he's gonna win multiple MVPs. Just the stuff he's doing is unreal. Again, he's 24 years old. But let me know what you guys think about the new camera angle. I switched back to my old camera angle, which I don't think I ever used on this channel. We have the new camera angle, so you can see the stuff in the back now. I think the other angle, you couldn't see anything in my background. The only thing is that the mic arm is in this frame, but I don't really go full screen too much in this channel. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of it. Let me know what you guys think of the Mavs in the comments below. Sub up if you guys have it, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.